Welcome to the show where stories unfold.
Let's go.
People doing big things, breaking the mold. They're changing the game, making waves every day.
Big move.
Shining bright with the work that is right.
Shine on.
This is Breaking the Silence with Nicky
Nicky Nicole in the building.
Unleash your inner voice and make some
Turn
noise.
up. Welcome to the Breaking the Silence podcast with Arthur and Nicky Nicole. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell your cousin, tell your friend, tell your neighbor to come over here and break the silence with Arthur and Nicky Nicole. Welcome to another powerful episode. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome back to another powerful episode of Breaking the Silence, where your voice, your story, and your power comes alive. Here, we elevate everyday heroes who are diving into change through visibility, opportunity, inspiration, connection, and empowerment. Today's guest is no stranger to the platform. She's been on Breaking the Silence before, dropping those amazing gems, and she's back again. I am joined today by Miss Rachel L. Geary, a respected leadership coach and an author whose mission is to help others unlock their potential, lead with purpose, and rise with confidence. Through her coaching, writing, and voice, she creates safe spaces for growth, healing, and bold transformation, helping individuals move from surviving to thriving, from quiet doubt to unapologetic power. So, get ready for some more gems to be dropped on the Breaking the Silence platform today. And after the countdown, please welcome her back again. Hey, welcome back. Thank you. Arthur Nicky, I appreciate the opportunity to come back and speak to your audience. Thank you once again.
I'm so excited that you're back again to drop some more of those amazing gems. The first time I was amazed. I know since the last time I'm about to be even more amazed. So tell me, what does leadership mean to you, and how has your definition evolved over time?
Well, leadership to me is a responsibility. And I think that when you're taking responsibility for other people's success, you have to be a leader yourself. So I'm a firm believer in being a leader. And being a CEO is how I define being a leader. And just to expound on that again, is being clear in your actions, empowered by your choices, and owning your direction to be the CEO of your life.
Now, you say all the time, be the CEO of your life. How does a person that, is afraid to step out on faith, out of their comfort zone, how do they begin to, take the motions of being the CEO of their lives?
I say that's a great question, Nikki. First, I want to say that's a great question, because a lot of us are trapped in cycles of fear. And with being trapped in cycles of fear, the biggest thing is to get out your own way. And a lot of times, I know you guys hear it, and I know I'm not the first person to say it, but the only way to step forward is to take the first step. So I would say, if you are looking for a new career, we'll just say new career. We'll start with new career. The first thing is to start researching the career. First steps, small baby steps. Don't look for 0 to 100. Look from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 100. Because as you gain momentum, you'll start getting to your goal quicker. But start small. That's how you get out your own way. You take very bite-sized nibbles of a larger piece of the pie. Now, me being in the management role for like over 20 to 25 years, I used to tell people all the time, there's a difference between a manager and a leader. And they never
Absolutely.
understood what I meant by that. But what do you think the major difference is between a manager and a leader?
I will say this as someone who was a manager and a leader, the transformation piece was I stopped being efficient and started being effective. Those are two major big pieces. Efficiency is when you're running the business by the numbers. Effectiveness is when you're coaching people. One more time, coaching people to deliver on results.
Mm.
That's a totally different avenue. That's because one is you're putting the numbers first. The other is you're putting the individual first. So that's the difference between being a manager and a leader.
Now, what do you think the most important quality is, a leader needs to possess or have to develop, success today? Because you and I both know success is hard to get to if you're not putting in the work.
Yeah. I would say I have something in my coaching program. As a leadership coach, in my coaching program, I have something called the 4S: self discipline, self esteem, self care, and being self aware. Those four pillars of self are how you develop yourself as a leader. When you're more self aware, you're aware of the things that trigger you good and bad. You're more evolved within yourself. When you do proper self care, and self care isn't about nails, clothes, activities, it's about boundaries. It's
Yes.
about understanding your safe space. It's about harnessing your energy.
Mhm.
When you are have high self-esteem, you're not looking for a role does not define you because your self-esteem, I say this a lot to people. Your self-esteem is not determined by anyone else. It's the growth of yourself that allows you to be able to lead other people.
Mm, I agree. Now, I should have asked this question to open us up. We got to tell everybody, how did you start this journey to lead?
So very similar to you, Arthur Nikki. I've been in leadership for 25 years. So I it's funny, but it's true. 25 years. I started my career in 2020. I mean, 2001 was when I very first got a leadership role, and from that role I was promoted three more times. But what
Nice.
this made me know that leadership coaching was my calling because for the last 3 years in my leadership roles, as I prospered in companies and moved up into VPs of operations, I noticed that the one challenge every leader had was the growth of themselves. Most bad managers are bad leaders of their lives.
That's
If you
true.
have a manager that screams, hollers, and is not accountable, that means they don't have any power at home. They don't know how to manage their temper, which means they're not self-aware. And if they don't give direction, that means they're bad at developing time. They're bad at their time management skills. Those are self-development tools that are
Hmm.
necessary for growth. You can't grow you or anyone else if you don't have a foundation to build upon.
You just stepped on some people's toes just then.
Hey, I used to be one of those people's toes I stepped on when I realized that people were doing what I said because of my role, not because of my qualities of me leading them. I had to make a shift. I didn't want people doing what I said because I had a title. I
Right.
wanted people to want to collaborate with me. There's a difference.
That's
I
the
don't want people to
difference.
work for me. I want people to collaborate with me. Growth is a team effort.
Yes. Yes. You said a mouthful there, but you know what? That is true. People normally do what you say do because of your title. But in management, I looked at it this way. If I wanted to get those bonuses every month, I knew that it took my team to get there. So we had to work together to get those bonuses and meet these numbers, like you said, show these results. And when the results were shown, I shared it with my team. So of course they didn't mind working for me because I showed my appreciation for me getting those results and that bonus on top of that. So how do you help, some of the clients overcome what we call imposter syndrome? Because a lot of people walk around with that.
I say this, guys. Imposter syndrome. If you're not going to be the best at anything that you're doing. Let me explain why. Because if you're comparing you to someone else, their best is not going to be your best. You to get over imposter syndrome, be the best version of you. Each day, work on the better version of you. You should only be in competition with one person, you. I'm not in competition with any. Arthur Nikki wrote books. Rachel L. Gary wrote books. Nikki is a podcaster. Rachel is a podcaster. We are not a competition. I am a collaboration. Every time when Nikki comes to my platform, I always shout out the things that she's doing. And when I come to her platform, I'm doing the same. Because I'm not in competition with Nikki. I'm being the best version of Rachel L. Gary, which is what you have to focus on. The best version of you. Paul, Sally, Raekwon, Sarah, Terry, whoever you're out there, the best version of you is waiting on you to step into it. That's it.
In a nutshell, that's it. And once they get that lesson, then guess what? They're gonna excel tremendously if they get that
Correct.
one lesson. That one lesson.
Yeah,
So
like right now I have a mentee. I have a mentee that right now is comparing herself with someone else. She's comparing her steps with someone else. So we were talking today. We were on the phone for a long period of time today. However, it was a great conversation because because she poured out some information to me that allowed me to understand where her mindset was and to understand how to help. So I want to say this for coaches out there. If you have mentees and you have a 30-minute and a 1-hour session with them, you're not going to get enough information to provide them results.
No.
We spoke on the phone for about 3 to 4 hours. My mentor, I have a mentor. If your coach doesn't have a coach, you got the wrong coach. I have a coach that helps me stay accountable to my next level goals. I speak to my coach from 3 to 4 hours when we're talking. Because how does she understand me if I'm not giving her enough information? I haven't opened up enough for her to even know who she's coaching.
Right.
So I will say this, and I only say this because I implore whoever's out there looking for coaching to get the best results. You need a coach that cares about your results. I'm not here having a conversation because I'm looking for dollars and cents. I'm looking for growth and development.
Boom.
Period.
Boom. In a nutshell. But you know what? People got to realize that your book cover is not going to look like the next book cover. Once we realize that, then we can get to the next level because you just got to focus on you and be the best version of you. And don't worry about what Sally, like you said, Sally and Raekwon and them doing because they're not benefiting your life.
And I will say this, everyone has their unique gift.
Yes.
Everyone, and when you're working in your unique gift, no one's going to be better at you at it because there could be 20,000 podcasts. There's not one podcast that's going to be like Breaking the Silence. Not one. Not one out there. There. If you go search Breaking the Silence, you'll see a lot of them. But are they covering what Nikki's covering? Are they bringing on the guests that Nikki's bringing on? Are they having the questions that she's asking? Are they pulling out that information that she is? No. Because she has her unique way that she's bringing that information out of me. She asks me questions and I'm giving those answers. If she didn't ask me those questions and only asked me 2 questions, she's only going to get 2 pieces of information. But how we grow is understanding that we're not in competition. Everyone, the market is never saturated because there's only one version of you.
That's it.
Just bring the best version. Don't give anybody half. I don't curse, but I have to say this. Don't half-ass it. Don't do that because that means you're not giving the best version of you. And yes, there are going to be people better than you because you're half showing up. Show up, show out every time. Every time you're doing anything you're doing.
But you
And
know
no
what?
one can stop you, and no one can be better than you because you're only in
Right.
competition with who? I'm only in competition with Rachel L. Gary last year. The last year, Rachel L. Gary, who came to Nikki's podcast, is not the same Rachel L. Gary that she's speaking to today.
As it should be. Growth. It's called growth. But nobody holds
Absolutely.
your blueprint but you.
Exactly.
That's
I
it.
tell people all the time. Now, I have a book. Now, I have 2 books. So my book is hashtag poverty to 6 figures. In my book, I talk about the information that you need to find success. I give a blueprint. Now, this is what I tell everyone. If you go in my book, every single chapter has an action point. And at that action point, it gives you what I did and then says, as an example, this is what I did. But how would you handle X, Y, and Z? Give your information on what you would do. Books are information.
That's it.
I have information with a strategy. The action plan is yours.
Boom.
Strategy, information. You get here. Action, you own action. So every book you read is a point of information. My event that I'm giving is giving more of a blueprint, giving more of a map. But the action that has to take place can only be done and given by you. No matter how I talk, no matter what I talk about. That's why I call myself an inspirational person, not a motivational person. Because motivation is internal. Inspiration is external.
Mm. Okay. I never thought about it that way. See, you learn something new every day. Wow. Okay, okay. Inspirational person, not a motivational person. Now you're gonna make me do some research on that one. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. When you look up the word motivation, it talks about self-reliance, self-determination. So I'm just inspiring a thought. I'm inspiring you to think. Like I don't teach, I remind. I remind people of who they want to be. I don't teach, just remind. When you come to me and you say, "Hey, I'm looking to build my business." When you tell me an excuse why you couldn't do something that I tasked you with, I just remind you. I thought you were looking to grow your business because the onus is on you for action.
Yep.
You
Yep.
came to me for a plan. I got you. I'm going to show up for that. But are you showing up more for you than you're asking anyone else to show up for you?
Listen, I didn't know that was a thing until literally this year. I'm like, show up for myself. What? How do you do that? So I'm just now navigating to show up for myself. And when I started doing that, I started getting different results. Because see, I was the person showing up for everybody else, pouring out of this empty cup, like literally just abandoning myself. But that self-love looks so good and it
Now,
feels so good.
and you, Nikki, now tell me this part. Now, when we're pouring, I told someone this. I don't pour from empty cup. I've learned 20 years in, I've learned that when my cup is full, I'm able to pour so much easier. I'm not drained. I don't feel empty. I don't feel, how about this? Every day I meditate. I'm gonna meditate after this. I meditate twice a day. So I usually meditate in the middle of the day and at the end of the day because I change for my mornings because my morning is my circle of genius. So I do all of my work planning during that time. It's my best part of my day. How I was able to figure all that out? Being self-aware. I took some time for me to understand me. When I started understanding me, I taught other people how to work with me, how to talk to me, how to love me, how to be with me. When you love you and you are pouring so much into you, you don't have time for nonsense.
No, you don't.
Am I right, Nikki?
You don't. You learn not to react to everything either. You don't react. You walk away from things that don't serve your purpose anymore. Like just everything just align with you. You everything because what really aligns with you, you don't got to struggle with it. You don't got to struggle
Exactly.
with
Exactly.
it. And I learned too, on this self-care journey that that sometimes people are not supposed to be in your life. And you got to be okay with that. Because you might want to take your friend from 20 years that you've been friends with you, but that friend may be holding you back from getting to the next level. And you're holding
Yes,
yourself
ma'am.
back by keeping them in your presence. But that takes time, that takes
Absolutely.
growth, that takes experience. Everybody don't get there overnight. But sometimes we hold ourselves back from getting to the next level, and we have to start holding ourselves accountable for certain things that we're doing and not doing. So when you learn that, peace of mind and everything else will just start flowing your way. I've learned that the hard way. So that
I
leads
said
me
this.
to my
I
next
am
question.
so at peace. I hear you, Nikki. I am so at peace in my life, and it's for. I have a friend who one of my mentees. She's also been my friend for 34 years.
Ooh,
We talk. It's like parts of our time together where we talk for a period of time, then we don't talk for a period of time because we're both moving in different directions.
right,
Now, what I'll say is that sometimes our conversations cannot be on the same level
right,
because and not saying that she's at a lower level, but certain things I've evolved past and certain things she's evolved past.
right,
So certain conversations we don't have like we used to because we've evolved past those steps in our lives. And
right.
I say this, if you have a friend, a family member who is struggling with your growth, don't get mad at what I'm going to say next. Just like Arthur Nikki just said, you have to let that person go their own way. It's not a rule, let them go. You slowly but surely, when you're having a high level conversation, people will stop talking to you because they don't want to talk about that. Have you noticed that? I
I've
know you
noticed it. I
have.
noticed it. Yes. Yes.
Like my wife and kids do not come talk to me about anything unless they're ready to be in action. I don't care what they have going on. If they're not ready to be in action, I won't even hear about it. Now, they'll call me when they're ready to do action because I'm about action. Okay, you want to do X, Y, Z? Okay, are you doing da 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 da? When I check in with you, hey, how's that going? My daughter is job hunting right now. So let me rephrase. My youngest is job hunting. Now I check in. I said, hey, how's job hunting go? When they said that, oh, it's going good. I applied for this job. Great. Now, if they had told me they weren't applying, I would have asked the question. Well, so what happened? I thought that you were tired of where you were.
Right.
Did you hear me say, hey, you need to be doing? I didn't. I'm just reminding what you want to do already. I'm not here to scold. I'm here just to remind of who you want to be. And if you're still aligned with the person, if you're still trying to be aligned with the person that you want to be, you'll refocus.
Right. 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 Refocus. I agree. So now I got two out of the box questions for you. Make you
All right,
think a
hit
little
me.
bit. So imagine leadership as a recipe. What are the key ingredients in that within that recipe, and how do you plan to mix them?
Great question. Leadership recipe. I got that. So the leadership recipe is one, be very aware of yourself. The 4 S's that I spoke about in the beginning of here are things that you must be very aligned with so you can find growth. 2, don't be afraid to change. That is huge. Change is one thing that is inevitable. Everything in life changes. Be ready to evolve. 3, learn to respond over reacting. Arthur Nikki said it in the beginning, but it's part of my recipe. When you react, you become part of the problem. When you respond, you are part of the solution. Those 3 things, when you internalize all of those things, and the final thing that you stir up is be really good at delegating and navigating your time. Time is one thing that we do not get back. When you waste it on wasteful things or you don't allocate it accordingly, the things that you want to do not get done successfully. When you have a rush job, you have rush work, it's not the best version of what you have.
But you know what? I'm big on time. I am a big person on time because, like you said, you cannot get that back. And we all get the same 24 hours, rich or poor. We get the same 24 hours, but it's what we do with those 24 hours. So that's why I did that motivation the other day. Do you own the clock or are you just obeying it? Because some of us just get up every day, do the same old stuff every single day, not trying to change, but yet we say we want to be a doctor, but we're not even enrolled in school. Like,
I know
what are
that's
you doing
right.
with your time? What are you doing? That's where you come in and say, remind them, I thought you said you wanted to be a doctor.
Mhm.
What are you doing to get there?
Mhm. See, I don't even ask those questions next. I just say, "Hey, I thought the road to your success was to be a doctor." That's the end of my question.
Mm,
Because I'm not here to browbeat what you say you want to do. I'm a coach that's
mm.
holding you accountable to what you want to do, not
All right.
browbeating you into doing it. If
I
you're
like
looking for
that.
success and you're looking for growth, I'm here to help. We're going to set the plan together. We're going to sit down and talk about that plan. If you're looking to have $1 million business, how do you start? $1 at a time. But you have to start at a base. Get the base together so as you grow, it doesn't crumble.
That part. That part. So my last question before we get to the segment I did add in now, would you rather? If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self as a leader, what would it be?
Be ready to change. Know that the person that you are right now is only in preparation for the person that you're going to become. Be ready to change quick. Do not draw it out. Make the adjustments quickly. Be decisive. Do not be flaky.
But you know, it's crazy that when we become older, we can look back at our lives and say, you know what, dog, I shouldn't have did that. Maybe I should have did this. But in the moment of the thing, just like I had a conversation with my mom earlier, and I was like, Mom, you are a great mom. I said, you know, I was coming up and I probably was hard headed. I didn't listen. And it's a lot of things that I see right now that if I would have just listened to you, I'd have been fine right now. I said, but thank you. Thank you for supporting me and thank you for being there and giving me that advice because we don't listen. We be young, we just do what we want to do and think we know everything. And then when you get older, you be like, if I could have just did this differently, I would have been in a different mind space and a whole mindset, a whole different area if I would have just listened to what my mama said. So it's funny that you said that. But now we're gonna get to the would you rather. I'm gonna play the countdown to introduce it. Okay. It's time for Would You Rather. Answer fast and don't just choose. Tell us why. We want to hear your vibe behind the pick. Let's go. All right. So first question. Would you rather be remembered for your impact on individuals or for your influence on the systems?
Impact,
Hmm.
bar none.
So why do you choose impact?
I choose impact because at the end of the day, if I touch someone in a way that impacts their future, I did not just touch them. I touch everyone that they touch after.
I know that's right. Woo.
Remember, my goal is audacious. I want to touch 100,000 people by 2026. To do that, I must impact an individual that makes them transform and have that conversation with 10 other people.
100,000 people by 2026.
Correct. That's what I'm
What
looking to do.
what number we at right now?
Well, I'm in the thousands. I'm in the thousands. Because think about it right now. We talked last year this time.
Yeah.
I've been on probably 100 different podcasts since. I have my radio show, Wake Up CEO, which you joined me for. I appreciate you so much. I want to say that on air. Thank you very much for supporting. Thank you very much for coming on any platform that I am on. I appreciate all the support that you have given. Thank you.
You're
I want to say
welcome. You're
that.
welcome.
Um, and I mean, what I've noticed is that my conversation is now expanding. People, when they walk up to me, someone told me the other day I'm a celebrity, and I was like, "What?"
Yes, you are. You are. Claim it.
So, but it was funny because I was on a podcast and she was like, she's so down to earth to speak to. And I'm like, why wouldn't I be? And then when we get off air, she's like, you're a celebrity. She's like, do you know how many people are talking about you right now? Boom. Then that's a difference than a year ago.
Yeah.
That means that what my goal was to touch people. And as I said, impact. That's why I picked impact. Because if people are talking about me while I'm not in the room, and it's always a positive conversation, I'm living the life that I'm speaking about.
Boom. In a nutshell. I love it. I love it. So the next question. Would you rather face failure alone or carry the burden of your team's failures?
I would say I'd rather face it alone, because I'm hoping that I imparted enough information in my team to understand that failure is an event. It is not a lifestyle. So if they fail, that there's something that they're learning from it. So I would never want to carry their failures, because they're going to learn something from those failures. So for me, I would always want to I would take my failures myself and be able to learn and grow from them, because I would want the same for them.
Did y'all just hear that, Jim? She said failure is an event, not a lifestyle.
You're not a failure. An opportunity that you've done failed. If you are audacious enough to step out, be ready. That's why I said preparation. Be ready for that you can fail, but be ready to fall fast and get right back up.
Nice. I love that. I love that. I'm gonna have to put failure is not an event. Failure is an event, not a lifestyle. Rachel L. Gary. Boom. Boom. I'm gonna run with that and put your name behind it.
Hey,
So
I appreciate you. And you know what? What I'm saying, how about this? Now, this shows you how much we're not in competition. I want to say this real quick. Author Nikki just said she's going to put my name with it, which I know she is. That shows you how we're not in competition.
Nope.
We're growing, and we're looking for both of us to have growth.
That's it. Trying to get it. We trying to win together. That's exactly. Been my goal from day one.
I don't know about this win. If you win, I have to lose, or for you to lose, I don't understand that concept. We both can win, because we're winning at two different races. Because she's running hers and I'm running mine.
That's it. That's it. That's it. If they see that, they will know better and start to do better.
Absolutely.
So last question.
I'm ready.
Would you rather lead from a place of fear or from a place of vulnerability?
One more time. What was the second one?
Lead from a place of fear or from vulnerability?
I'll say vulnerability, because for me, I'm open, as you guys can see. I'm very open. So in my first book, Forged in Fire, it showed a very vulnerable place. It speaks all about things that most people do not want to talk about. And those things that they don't want to talk about are the things that are keeping them trapped in the lifestyle that they're leading. So being vulnerable gives you the opportunity to open up. And when you open up, listen, when your arms are open, do you see how much room is inside to let things in?
Okay.
So for me, open allows me to let things in as well. It allows me to let healing in. Allows me to know that I survived the situation. Allows me to understand that now I'm striving and then moving to thriving. I can't do that if I'm closed with fear. So vulnerability, hands down.
I agree, because one of my audience, somebody from the audience was watching some of my podcast show episodes, and it was like, you know what? I want to know who Arthur Nikki Nicole is. First thing I was saying was, I don't want to folk to know my business. But then I was like, you know what? They might be onto something. So I can still navigate it, because I can tell them what I want them to know and still tell them something about me. So that started a whole new series for me telling things about myself that I've never told nobody. Awesome. So now I feel better, because now it's like a healing journey. It was therapy, and I didn't know it was therapy that I needed, that I didn't know I needed. So
exactly. And that's how I feel about my book. Like a lot of those things that were in my book, I had to go back in my memory and remember, because for me, I don't relive things. And this is going to sound funny. I don't relive things from the past that are painful. Let me explain why. Because when you pull the pain from the past to the present, you're refilling it. You're opening old wounds. For
Yes.
me, that wound is closed.
Yes.
So when I was telling the stories, I had to take a step back and remember who that person was, because I'm no
Yes.
longer that person. We shed our skin just like snakes. We shed our, and you have, I'm gonna say it this way, you have to kill the old you to give birth to the new you.
You do.
I want to say that. I want you to internalize that. How can you grow if you're still living in an old mindset?
Come on now.
There's no growth. There's no growth in stifling. So I don't stifle myself, and so I grow. So I don't. Most people say that means that you're suppressing it. I don't suppress it.
No.
I accept it. I
And move
accept that
on.
I survived it, and I accept that now I'm going to strive because of it. One more time, because of it. And now I'm going to thrive because of what I survived. It's
Yes.
over. It's an
Yes.
event. One more time, it's an event. It's not my life. I'm not. I'm not the kid who X, Y, and Z happened to.
Right.
I'm the adult that learned from that child and that child's pain, and I grew from that pain. I am the
Mhm.
person I am today because of that child's pain, trials, triumphs, and everything. I am that person today because of it. I celebrate the trials because they are the reason I have triumph today. I can't.
Right.
How can you win if you wasn't losing?
Okay.
How did you get in the arena? How did you start even doing anything if you weren't ready to lose? I I lost time, I lost loved ones, I lost things. They allowed me to have strength to grow and be who I am. So we don't live in the past. Learn. I'm either winning or learning. That's all you're doing in life. You're winning and learning.
Women
Because
and
when
learning.
you're not winning, you're learning a lesson that will help you win again.
Boom. In a nutshell. But you know what? I'm a big, big, big stickler on your past doesn't define you. And you're right. I'm like that too. I don't think that's weird because when I went through that pain, like you said, I closed that door. I closed that door and everything with it, and I moved on from it. So I had to, when I did those episodes, I had to really open myself back up to that wound and hurt again. So I did 8 episodes and I had to take a break from it because I opened all those wounds again that I
Mhm.
no longer was thinking about. So I agree. You have to close that chapter in your life and you got to move on from it. You can't keep holding on to it. But now we're down
Absolutely.
to your light. So this is the time for you to shine. I'm going to do the countdown. It's going to be you and only you. After the countdown, let them know how to follow your journey, what's coming up next for you in 2025, what you want to tell them because we move in silence over here. What you want to tell them, and then and give somebody, a leader out there that's striving to be I guess say transform from the manager to the leader. Some type of advice of how to do that after the countdown.
Okay. Hey there, CEOs. And that's what you are. You are a CEO. My journey is can be captured everywhere on social media if you look at Rachel L. Gary. My latest book, hashtag poverty is six figures event, immersive event here in Chicago is June 15th. If you can't make it, you can always go to www.sayiampossible.com. One more time, that is www.sayiampossible.com. That's where you can find my events, where I'm going to be next. I am on a book tour. So for my first book, Forest and Fire, you can find out where I will be next. You can also find out what podcast I am on and what platforms that I will be having the opportunity to talk to great people. At the end of the day, leaders, CEOs, the only way to lead is to lead you. Start with being the leader of yourself and the best version of you, because that best version of you shows up in each and everything you do. Continue being up, out, and moving to the greatness we all know lies within who? You CEOs.
Boom, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Well, thank you so much for coming back and allowing me to shine a light on you once again. We can do this every year if you want to. I want you to come back
Oh,
when you hit that
absolutely. And
100,000.
we gotta get you on Wake Up CEO so you can tell us
Please.
your journey, your story. Tell us about your new project that you have going on. Because at the end of the day, support brings growth. Growth brings more people in the room. More people in the room learn, grow, and develop, and be in the best version of them. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you know I'm rooting for you on this end. If I ever I had to go back and turn the notifications on because I was like, why do I keep missing her? So I turned the notifications on so I can kind of like follow you a little bit and try to catch some of your lives because you're the morning person and I'm the late night person. So I'm like up until like 6 o'clock in the morning. So about 7 o'clock, I'm laying down. So
Oh,
while
no.
you're working, I'm sleeping.
That's a
So
no for me, guys. I'm a 5 a.m. is a max of early my lateness of waking up, and I'm usually in bed by 10. My wife is talking to me, and I'm listening to half the conversation by 10:30.
Well, I wish I had that lifestyle. I wish. I'm trying to get there, but it's hard. It's hard, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Next time we talk, I'm gonna be there.
That's
But
where you
once,
want to be. But because some of the things that you do at night give you opportunity to have peace because there's not many people up with you. So that might be your circle of genius.
right, because the
Somebody's
baby's
got to have
sleep.
that night shift. Not me. Somebody. Nikki got you.
Yeah, I work my best work is at night. I can work all night long and be fine.
Hey, I think that we need to get on some of these networks then that we got a 24-hour inspirational marathon because of you. I take the day, you take the night, then they got 24 hours of inspiration. I like that.
Exactly.
That might be next, guys. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. But thank you so much again. And when you get to that 100,000, come on back over here. Let's talk about it again. And thank you everybody for tuning into this amazing episode. You are the CEO of your life. Yes. I love when I first heard her say that, I was like, what? Not the CEO of my life. She don't even know, but she changed my life that day. When I heard that come out of her mouth, I was like, oh wow. I started moving a little bit different. I did, y'all. I started moving a little bit different and started owning my life and owning my 24 and really tapping into who I am. So y'all make sure y'all check her out. She's an amazing coach. She's an amazing person. So check out some of her lives that she does because she will get you pumped and amped for the day. Trust me. And that's why I hate when I miss some of her stuff because I'm like, dang it, I missed my dose for the day. But y'all make sure y'all tune in. Y'all tune in and follow her journey. So thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Breaking the Silence, where your voice matters, your story inspires, and your power creates change. So if this episode has moved you in any kind of way, please share it with somebody that you know because someone else may need to hear it too. And remember, it all starts with your voice. Your voice. So until next time, continue to break the silence in your lives. Later. Thank you for tuning in today. If something spoke to your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and drop a review to let me know how I'm impacting your journey. And before I go, listen to this powerful review from one of my amazing guests. You don't want to miss what they had to say. Later.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Incognita, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing podcast. It's Nikki Nicole's Breaking the Silence. I was honored to be a guest on this podcast, and I had such an amazing time. It felt like I was talking to a long lost friend. She's so dope and so sweet. So please support her. Go to her channel, subscribe, check out her videos, comment, just any way that you can support her. She's providing a platform for people to share their voice, share some love and some positive information. So definitely check that out. My episode will be airing in March, so I'll be sure to keep y'all posted on that. I'll post it on my page with a link when the time comes. But in the meantime, in between time, all the time, support my girl Nikki, Breaking the Silence podcast. I love y'all. God bless.